I didn't answer him the first time. Br. Not because I was scared. Br. Not because I thought I was imagining things. But because dead bodies aren't supposed to ask questions. Br. Especially not that question. Why did you close my eyes? But words didn't come from the mouth. They came from inside my head like a thought that wasn't mine, heavy and wet, dragging itself across my brain. I stood frozen beside the steel table, my latex-gloved hands hovering inches above his face. The overhead fluorescent lights buzzed softly, flickering just enough to make shadows move where they shouldn't. The morgue was quiet in the way only places meant for the dead can be. No life noises, no echoes of the outside world, just cold air, metal, and the smell of chemicals that never fully leaves your clothes. I had closed his eyes 5 minutes earlier. Br. That was standard procedure. Respect, dignity, habit, I told myself that. But now my heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Why did you close my eyes? The body lay completely still, male, mid-40s, no visible trauma, found dead in his apartment. Time of death estimated 12 hours earlier. I remembered the file because it was boring, unremarkable, the kind you forget the moment you're done. His eyelids were shut, lashes resting unnaturally still against pale skin. His mouth was slightly open, as if frozen mid-breath. I swallowed. This wasn't my first night shift. It wasn't my first hallucination either. Lack of sleep can do things to you. The brain fills silence with noise. The dead don't talk. That's a fact you learn early in this job. I stepped back from the table. Did you hear that? I asked the room, my voice sounding too loud, too alive. Nothing answered. I laughed, short, nervous. Get it together. I turned toward the sink to rinse my gloves. That's when I heard it again. Closer. Slower. Why did you close my eyes? This time it wasn't inside my head. It came from the table. Not the mouth. The chest didn't rise. The throat didn't move. The voice came from everywhere at once, like the room itself was speaking using his memory of sound. I spun around. His eyes were open. Wide. Too wide. They were glassy but focused, locked directly onto mine. I stumbled backward, hitting the counter hard enough to knock a tray of instruments to the floor. The clang echoed, sharp and violent in the sterile room. No, I whispered. No. I had closed those eyes myself. I remembered the pressure of my fingers, the way the lids resisted for a fraction of a second before staying shut. Dead eyes don't open. They don't track movement. They don't accuse. Do you know, the voice continued, calm now, almost curious, what it's like to be awake in the dark? I shook my head violently, tears stinging my eyes. This isn't happening. He or his pupils didn't react to the light, but they followed me as I backed away. I could hear everything, he said. Your footsteps, your breathing, the radio you left on in the hallway. I could feel your hands. My stomach twisted. I had felt something strange when I touched him earlier, a warmth that hadn't fully faded. I had brushed it off as residual heat, delayed cooling. It happens, doesn't it? You pressed my eyelids down, he went on. You decided I didn't need to see anymore. I thought you were dead, I said, my voice cracking. There was a pause. Ben. So did I. The lights flickered violently. For a split second the room went dark. When they came back on, he was sitting up. I screamed. His body moved with the stiffness of something unused to motion, joints popping softly as he swung his legs over the side of the table. His feet touched the floor, skin pale against the gray tiles, still naked, still cold-looking, still wrong. I tried to scream, he said, standing now, but rigor hadn't set in yet. My lungs wouldn't work, my tongue wouldn't move. I was trapped behind myself. I slid down the wall, my legs giving out beneath me. This is impossible, I sobbed. He tilted his head, studying me like a specimen. That's what I thought when I realized I could still think. He took a step closer. The smell hit me then, not rot, not decay, but something metallic and sweet, like blood that had nowhere to go. Do you know how long 12 hours feels like, he asked, when you can't blink? I covered my ears, but the sound wasn't entering through them. It gets darker after you close the eyes, he said softly. Not black, never black, more like pressure, like something leaning in close, waiting. He crouched in front of me. Our faces were inches apart. His breath was cold. Dead. You helped it find me. Bar, I screamed again, scrambling backward, my hands slipping on the floor. I reached the door, fumbling for the handle. Locked. Bar, of course it was locked. Morgue protocol. Behind me, I heard wet footsteps. Bar, you shouldn't have touched my face, he said. I turned. He was standing beside the other tables now. Bar, they were opening. One by one, metal drawers slid out with slow, deliberate movements, as if pushed from the inside. Bar, hands emerged, twitching fingers. Bar, eyes opening in the dark. Voices began to overlap, whispering the same question in different tones, different ages, different levels of decay. Why did you close my eyes? Bar, why did you decide? Bar, why did you think we were done? Bar, I pressed myself against the door, screaming for help, pounding until my hands went numb. The first body stepped down from its tray. Bar, then another bar and another bar. Some couldn't walk properly. Some dragged themselves. Some moved far too smoothly. All of them were looking at me. You're the last one we remember touching us, the first man said. That makes you important. Bar, I shook my head. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Bar, that's what everyone says, a woman croaked, her jaw hanging at an angle it shouldn't. Before they decide for us. Bar, the lights went out again. This time they didn't come back on, Br, but I could still see them, Beer. Not with my eyes, Br with theirs. Every pair of eyes I'd ever closed opened inside my head at once. Br, I felt hands on my face. Br, cold fingers. Bar, gentle. Br, familiar. You won't need them anymore, the man whispered. And this time, he added, as darkness pressed in, thick and suffocating, we'll make sure you stay awake.